Show me your papers. Now! I'm a firefighter. I served in Iraq. My son is American!
The old man's voice cracked. More agents moved in. 15 neighbors watched from their yards. Phones rose. This moment, captured on 9 cameras, would cost the federal government $10.6 million. But those cameras also caught something else. 3 words whispered 18 minutes earlier. Words that would destroy a career and expose a pattern the government tried to hide. If you're watching this from somewhere that values justice, drop your state below. Hit subscribe, because stories like this don't tell themselves, and what happened next proves why we need to keep watching. 18 hours earlier, Marcus Jefferson loaded his truck at the grocery store. Steaks for 20 people. His son Tyler wore a Milwaukee Fire Department junior program shirt. His father, 71 years old, Korean War veteran, sat in the passenger seat telling stories about block parties from 40 years ago when the neighborhood was different, but the people weren't. Saturday, August 17, 2024. In a federal building 12 miles away, Agent Derek Brandt scrolled through a list on his screen. 8 people named Marcus Jefferson. He looked at addresses, stopped at one. Palmer Street, Latino neighborhood. Agent Martinez, 26 years old, 14 months in the field, leaned over his shoulder. Easy quota, Brandt said. Martinez pulled up a database. There's a Marcus Jefferson, Milwaukee Fire Department. Born 1982, Wisconsin. Same address. Brandt waved it off. Same name, different guy. Martinez hesitated. Should we verify? Let's go. 6:30 p.m. The Jefferson backyard smelled like charcoal and lighter fluid. Marcus seasoned the meat. His wife, Rebecca, set out plates on the picnic table. Their younger son, Jordan, 9 years old, kicked a soccer ball against the fence. Tyler helped his grandfather arrange chairs. 4 neighbors already stood in their front yards. Block party starting in an hour. Someone brought a speaker. Music drifted over fences. 6:45. A black SUV rolled down Palmer Street. Slow. Robert Chen, YT specialist, lived 3 doors down, noticed first. He watched it stop in front of the Jefferson house. 2 people got out. Dark tactical vests, yellow letters on the back. ICE. Chen pulled out his phone, started recording. The agents walked to the front door, knocked 3 times. No answer. Marcus was in the back. Didn't hear. Agent Brandt looked at Martinez. Check the back. Martinez shifted. We don't have a warrant. Brandt opened the side gate. Doesn't matter. Immigration check. He walked into Marcus Jefferson's backyard uninvited, and everything that happened next, every second, every word, every mistake, the cameras caught it all. The gate clicked shut behind them. Marcus Jefferson turned from the grill, saw 2 agents crossing his lawn. The one in front had his hand near his belt. Marcus Jefferson. Marcus set down the tongs. Yes. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. Brandt pulled out a badge. We need to verify your employment authorization. Marcus looked down at his shirt. Milwaukee Fire Department logo across the chest. I'm a lieutenant. Station 19. Been there 16 years. Brandt's expression didn't change. I need to see a passport, birth certificate, now. They're inside. I can... Don't move. The back door opened. Rebecca stepped onto the deck. She took in the scene. 2 federal agents. Her husband by the grill. Hands visible. What's happening? Behind her, Tyler and Jordan appeared in the doorway. Tyler pulled his brother back. Both boys stared through the glass. Ma'am, step back inside. Brandt's voice carried across the yard. Rebecca stayed where she was. Why are you in our backyard? The second agent, Martinez, stood near the fence, her face tight. She glanced at the neighbors watching from 3 yards over. The screen door banged. Marcus's father walked out, 71 years old, veteran cap on his head. He moved past Rebecca. What is this? Sir, I need you to stay back. My son is an American citizen. The old man's voice shook. He was born in Milwaukee County Hospital. Brandt turned to Martinez, lowered his voice, thought the distance would hide it. But the Ring camera on the back porch caught everything. Timestamp 1835 in 22 seconds. Check the backyard fence. These people always run. Martinez didn't respond. She looked at the ground, then moved toward the side gate. Over the wooden fence, phones rose. 4 neighbors now. Robert Chen pressed record, dialed 911 with his other hand. 911, what's your emergency? ICE agents just entered my neighbor's backyard without permission. No warrant that I can see. The home on is a Milwaukee firefighter. Was what Agent Brandt just said racial profiling, or was it reasonable caution based on experience? Comment your verdict below, because what the cameras captured in the next few minutes would become evidence in a federal lawsuit. We're 18 minutes into this confrontation. It gets worse. Marcus kept his hands where they could see them, spoke calmly. Rebecca, can you get my passport? It's in the desk drawer, second from the top. Rebecca hesitated, looked at the agents, then nodded, went inside. Marcus's father stayed on the deck, fists clenched. You can't just walk into someone's property. Sir, if you interfere, I will detain you as well. Tyler pulled his grandfather's arm. Grandpa, please. Through the glass door, Jordan pressed his hands against the window. 9 years old, watching his father surrounded, Rebecca's footsteps echoed inside the house. Drawers opening, papers rustling. Brandt watched Marcus. How long have you lived at this address? 14 years. And you claim you're a firefighter. I don't claim I am. What station? Station 19, West Side. How long? 16 years. I told you that. Anyone can buy a shirt. Marcus's jaw tightened. First flash of anger. He breathed through it. Call Captain Stephen O'Malley. He'll verify. Brandt didn't reach for his phone. He looked at Martinez. She stood by the fence, arms crossed, watching the neighbors watch them. How many cameras you count, he asked her. At least 4. Her voice flat. Doesn't matter. Brandt turned back to Marcus. Where's your wife with those documents? She's getting them. The back door opened. Rebecca emerged holding a navy booklet in a folded paper. She walked down the deck steps, crossed the yard, stopped 3 feet from Brandt, held them out, a United States passport, a Wisconsin birth certificate, Cook County Hospital, March 15th, 1982. Brandt took them, flipped through the passport. 5 seconds. And looked at the birth certificate, then looked up. These could be fake. We'll need to verify downtown. Rebecca's mouth opened. No sound came out. Pastor Williams' neighbor from 2 houses down called over the fence. That man has lived here 14 years. This is wrong. Brandt ignored him, folded the documents, put them in his vest pocket. And that's when Marcus Jefferson realized this wasn't going to end with a simple verification. Kich ban fan ba, silum tote sutram haimutu. Marcus's father stepped forward, pulled a card from his wallet. Veteran ID, Department of Veterans Affairs. Korean War, 1950 to 1953. Look at this. His hand trembled. My son served too. Iraq, 2003 to 2006. He bled for this country. Brandt glanced at the card, didn't take it. Sir, step back. He was born in Milwaukee. Brandt put his hand on the old man's shoulder. Pushed, not hard, but enough. The veteran stumbled back 2 steps. Robert Chen's voice carried over the fence. He just pushed an old man. Marcus moved, half a step. Don't touch my father. Brandt's hand went to his belt. Stay where you are. Rebecca moved between them. Please, we've shown you everything. His birth certificate, his passport. What else do you need? Brandt pulled out his radio, keyed it. This is Brandt. I need transport for one individual. Palmer Street location. The radio crackled. Copy. En route. 1847. The moment everything became irreversible, Brandt turned to Martinez. Cuff him. Martinez stared. Agent Brandt, he has documentation. That's an order. Martinez's face went pale. She looked at Marcus, at Rebecca, at the two boys behind the glass, at the phones recording over the fence. She reached for her cuffs. Turn around, hands behind your back. Marcus didn't move. I'm a United States citizen. You have my birth certificate, my passport. I've served this country twice, once in uniform overseas, once in uniform here, saving lives for 16 years. You have no legal grounds to detain me. Turn around. The neighbors were shouting now. 15 people, maybe more. Pastor Williams called out a prayer. Someone yelled about calling a lawyer. Robert Chen stayed on the phone with 911 dispatch, narrating every detail. Marcus looked at his wife, then at his father, then at his sons pressed against the glass. He turned around, put his hands behind his back. The metal cuffs clicked. Each ratchet sounded like a door slamming. Rebecca covered her mouth. Tears ran down her face, but she made no sound. Inside the house, Tyler screamed. Dad, he ran to the door. Rebecca caught him, held him back. Jordan banged on the glass. 9 years old, fists pounding. Let him go, let my dad go. Marcus's father clutched his chest. His breathing came short. He leaned against the deck railing, one hand over his heart, the other reaching toward his son. This is wrong. This is wrong. Brandt walked Marcus toward the side gate. Martinez followed. She didn't look back. They reached the black SUV parked out front. Brandt opened the rear door, put his hand on Marcus's head, guided him into the back seat, slammed the door. Martinez got in the driver's seat, started the engine. Brandt climbed in the passenger side. His body cam was still recording. Audio clear. Too many of them in this neighborhood anyway. Martinez's hands gripped the steering wheel. White knuckles. She said nothing. Put the SUV in drive. A truck screeched around the corner. Fire department vehicle. Captain Stephen O'Malley jumped out before it fully stopped. Still in his uniform, he ran to the SUV, banged on the window. That's my Lieutenant Marcus Jefferson. He's been with Milwaukee Fire 16 years. You need to release him right now. Brandt rolled down the window. 2 inches. This is a federal immigration matter. He was born in Wisconsin. Call the station, call the damn mayor. Sir, step away from the vehicle. O'Malley put both hands on the door. I'm not letting you take him. Brandt keyed his radio, requesting backup at Palmer Street, interference with federal officers. O'Malley stepped back, not because he wanted to, because 2 more ICE vehicles were already turning onto the street. He pulled out his phone, started making calls. The SUV pulled away. In the back seat, Marcus Jefferson sat with his hands cuffed behind him. He could hear his son screaming from inside the house, could see his father being helped down the deck, steps by Rebecca, could see 15 neighbors with their phones still recording, could see Captain O'Malley shouting into his phone. The cookout food sat untouched on the grill, smoke rising, the block party that never happened. And somewhere in the federal database, Marcus Jefferson's record was about to be flagged as detained pending immigration verification. A firefighter, a veteran, a father, a son, processed like he just crossed a border instead of serving his country on both sides of one. 26 hours. Marcus Jefferson sat in a detention cell built for people who cross borders illegally. Fluorescent lights that never turned off. A metal bench, a toilet with no seat. The air conditioning set so cold he couldn't stop shaking. For the first 4 hours, they wouldn't let him make a phone call. When he asked why he was being held, they told him his documents were being verified. When he asked to speak to a supervisor, they told him to wait. When he said he was a firefighter, they wrote it down and walked away. He'd served in Iraq. slept in worse conditions. But this was different. This was his own country treating him like he didn't belong in it. While Marcus sat in that cell, Robert Chen sat at his computer. IT specialist, 14 years of experience. He knew how to compile footage, 9 camera angles, his Ring camera, 2 neighbor security systems, 6 phones. He synced the timestamps, edited them into a single timeline. 32 minutes of footage showing everything in the backyard entry without warrant, the document rejection, the elderly veteran being pushed to handcuffing, the children screaming. He sent it to the ACLU, to the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel, to 3 local news stations. By Sunday morning, the video was everywhere. I see arrest Milwaukee firefighter at family BQ. 105,000 views in the first 6 hours. Captain O'Malley didn't wait for the media. He called an emergency meeting of the Milwaukee Firefighters Union at 7 a.m. Sunday morning. 6 firefighters from Station 19 filed formal grievances. The union lawyer, a woman who'd been practicing labor law for 32 years, got on the phone with the ICE district director. The conversation was brief. She used words like unlawful detention and federal lawsuit and every news station in Wisconsin. Sunday, 8:45 p.m. Marcus Jefferson was released. No apology, no explanation. Just a clerk who handed him back his wallet and keys and said he was free to go. Rebecca picked him up, didn't speak on the drive home. Her hands stayed locked on the wheel. When they pulled into the driveway, the house was dark except for one light in the living room. Marcus walked through his front door. Tyler and Jordan sat on the couch with their grandmother. Both boys looked at him. Neither moved. "It's okay," Marcus said. "I'm home." Tyler turned away. Jordan started crying. Rebecca knelt next to them. "He's back. He's safe." Jordan shook his head, kept crying. "They'll take him again." Marcus's father wasn't there. He was at St. Luke's Medical Center. Chest pain, stress-induced heart palpitations. They'd admitted him Saturday night. The bill would be $8,200. Rebecca told Marcus about the nightmares. Jordan woke up 3 times the first night screaming. Tyler hadn't eaten since Saturday dinner. Both boys asked the same question over and over. When are they coming back? 26 hours in detention. But the damage was permanent. Marcus stood in his living room, the home he'd lived in for 14 years, the neighborhood where he'd coached Little League and helped neighbors fix their cars, and responded to fires at 3 a.m. and watched his 9-year-old son look at him like he was already gone. That's what Agent Brandt's easy quota actually cost. The ACLU lawyer opened Agent Derek Brandt's personnel file. 4 complaints filed between 2019 and 2024, 3 for racial profiling, 1 for excessive force, 2 written warnings from supervisors, all documented, all ignored. Then they found his phone records, text messages from February 24th. Riverside Market area equals easy targets. They never have papers ready. An email from June 2023. Focus enforcement on Hispanic-sounding names in the city database. Higher verification rates. The attorney forwarded everything to the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. Wednesday morning, the audio leaked. These people always run. Then the second clip from inside the vehicle. Too many of them in this neighborhood anyway. 18 minutes of body cam and Ring camera footage. Brandt's voice on loop. 180,000 shares in 48 hours. Hashtag Jefferson case trended across Wisconsin, then Illinois, then nationally. Milwaukee's mayor held a press conference, said he was deeply concerned. The state attorney general promised a review. Politicians who'd never mentioned ICE enforcement suddenly had very strong opinions about accountability. So now, Agent Nicole Martinez stopped sleeping. 26 years old, 14 months in the field. She'd followed orders, handcuffed a firefighter while his children screamed. She called FBI Internal Affairs, asked for a meeting. Two agents sat across from her in a conference room. She told them everything. The database checks she'd done that Brandt ignored, the lack of warrant, the whispered comments, the body cam footage she knew existed. And then she told them about the regional director, the weekly quota meetings, the pressure to prioritize Latino neighborhoods for higher numbers. The email chain showing supervisors knew exactly what Brandt was doing and encouraged it. It wasn't just one agent. It was a pattern, a system. So let's talk about accountability. Agent Brandt had 4 prior complaints. He ignored clear evidence that Marcus Jefferson was a citizen. He used racist language caught on camera. He handcuffed a veteran in front of his traumatized family while his supervisor knew about his history and did nothing to stop him. What punishment fits that? Not what you think will happen, what should happen. Comment below. Tell me what justice looks like when the system protects the people who break it. Because what happened next would set a precedent that reached far beyond one Milwaukee backyard.